still youthful, but again, there is no new idea. So they are thinking in terms of where is the new idea? And this is why somebody like Maraga, for instance, the former Chief Justice, there are younger people who are actually saying, you know, we support Maraga.
Yeah.
Maraga is not their age mates, but to them, this person having been a Chief Justice, having been, you know, seen as somebody who was progressive in terms of, especially that 2017 presidential, you know, election petition, they are seeing this as a new idea. Somebody like Okia Omtata, for instance, you can see many youth supporting, you know, Okia, saying Okia for president. I don't think Okia is Gen Z. I don't think he's even millennials. But what he brings is dependability. What he brings is, you know, that consistency, because anybody that can go back even to the 2007 and 8 election, the image you remember of Okia Omtata is him chaining himself at, was it Vigilante?
National, yes,
you know,
police service.
As in other police service. All you're seeing in Omtata's life is him defending rights. You're not seeing him on the opposite side of, you know, the people. So you are seeing consistency, you are seeing dependability, and young people do not just want their own, they just want some values and qualities.
And even as you continue, Wakili, there's also the question of gender, because now, if, and in the case of Tanzania, we're talking about when they finally announced Samia Suluhu Hassan as president, she'll be the very first female elected president in this region. And there's always been this talk that a female president or a female leader would be so progressive, would be so different. Is this what we are seeing after 5 male presidents in Tanzania? A female one comes. Is it any different? Or is it getting worse?
Just before, I wanted to add on to this, and then I come to your question. Because you mentioned Maraga, actually. I made that comment on my handle as well, that he appears to meet the bill in terms of what the Gen Z are looking for. He's a reformist. But now, we were discussing just a while ago about the people, not the leader. Now look at his conduct in Mombasa. He met young people. And he told them, thank you so much for coming. Preach this gospel to the world. And then there was expectation that the youth expected some form of transport back home, and people were criticizing Maraga, saying he's mean. I mean, we saw that on social media. So where are the people when it comes to age? This is where I think you now must go back and, you know, let the viewers understand that the people have a serious responsibility in actually realizing, you know, making sure that reforms are realized. If you look at where we walk every day, where you knock, which doors you go to, which office, the greetings you get, the expectations from people, is it reforms or actually suppressing reforms? Are people willing to let go this corrupt mentality? And when you talk about age, I mean, who is in office? People are already scared that, bana huyo amomwezi, huyo bana we 2027 bana sisi, we can't even go there. Huyo ashashinda. We're in 2025, people are thinking like that. So people's mentality cannot be ruled out in terms of encouraging and installing wrong behavior in governance. So you talk about gender. You see, now I am an old folk as well. I'm not Gen Z or a young person. I'm young at heart, but I'm not like Oburu, who is still a Gen Z. In reality, and I say this with tremendous respect to gender issues, the ladies have homework to do to come together among themselves as female leaders and ensure that they do not castigate each other, they do not sort of group themselves so that they become from behind, but they go ahead. Kenya has given huge room for actually female gender to actually succeed, and they are all over in critical institutions. But whether now Samia, when she wins in Tanzania, really, Tanzania, better in researching their issues, I don't know if they've come to where we are as Kenya in terms of encouraging the ladies to take national, offices, and I could be seeing them. There could be some of them, but in terms of gender, ladies, when they are committed, they tend to actually offer better governance in terms of seeing things clearly and not from the corrupt mentality and trying to be part, a political patronage. They tend to actually see the things clearly. If you look at the institutions that have been governed in our country by ladies, they tend to be clear, I am supposed to do this, and not carry a lot of baggage in terms of political baggage, except where they are threatened and probably their vehicles being shot at and all that. But if you leave the ladies to actually govern, so if Suluhu actually becomes president after these elections, and she's allowed to lead without, overtures from the international communities and those who are handling her, the advisors, she could actually provide.
Did you expect this level of suppression under a female president?
Never. Actually, this surprised me a lot, especially Suluhu. The image she portrayed when she was deputy was so human, so motherly, and that's why I told you, Fred, I keep going back. The people around the president make a lot of determinations. Even though you see the president signing and giving the final orders, the people around the president almost determine what kind of policies that will be implemented. So the people handling Samia Suluhu today, I am very sure in her heart she wasn't going to suppress openly, but the people around the president.
So that is where now I disagree with my senior here, because the thing is the same thing people said about Uhuru Kenyatta. Sometimes we actually want to love somebody, and then we want to really absolve them of certain things that this man is very good, but it's the people around. But you see, at the end of the day, these people are executive. Of course, there may be so many influences that come in. For instance, President Samia Suluhu Hassan, when she became president, with that Arab, connection, now UAE is making a lot of say in Tanzania. Of course, that is her decision. And she has taken it so personally that anybody that criticizes any deal between Tanzania and UAE find themselves, at risk of, including treasonous charges. In Loliondo, for instance, Ngorongoro divisions, many Maasai defending their right to land. Some of them have disappeared, some of them arbitrarily arrested, and it's because there's a UAE involvement in tourism business there, so they're being evicted from their land. There was a Tanzania-UAE port deal, whereby 3 senior lawyers and officials, including Boniface Mwabukusi, who's now the Tanganyika Law Society president, the equivalent of the Law Society of Kenya president, was arrested and charged with treason because of criticizing that port deal. An ambassador, Dr. Slaa, was also charged. It took the effort of many human rights organizations, including Amnesty International, to have them released. But going back, Samia Suluhu Hassan comes into presidency March 2021, very strong, very vibrant, reverses a lot of bans or policies that had been made by Magufuli that seemed not to be in line with good governance. One of it also was the denialism of COVID. You remember that was the COVID year and vaccine. Yeah. So he instituted a commission to deal with the treatment and just research around it. Then there was pregnant schoolgirls, of girls who fall pregnant while in schools were not allowed to go back to mainstream schools. Again, Suluhu reverses that ban. There was a ban on political party gatherings, which discriminatorily targeted, opposition parties. CCM could meet anywhere. That ban had existed for more than 6 years. Again, lifted that ban. There were media outlets that had been banned for almost 6 years, lifted that ban. But a few years later, promised to actually, start a constitutional reform process. But a few months down the line, realized that the opposition parties were gaining popularity a lot. And that is when I think the decision, whether it was hers or, as you say, the people around her, that if you continue being like this, then CCM is going to lose ground. And she started ruling with an iron fist. Something that we did not expect, a female president. So again, going into what you're saying, there is that assumption she's female, and so she'll have clearer, motherly, human look into even how she governs. In May this year, Boniface and Agatha were tortured, including sexual violation. And there are so many other reports we've received as Amnesty International. Sexual violation is an order of the day in Tanzania used by the state. under a woman leader. Even Magufuli would not allow that. So I think that is a minus, a very big minus onto her. She has not publicly condemned, even to pretend and say, we will investigate and come to the bottom of things with regards to these allegations from these Kenyans and Ugandans. But what we see her doing is praise the security agencies for how they dealt with the foreign elements that wanted to meddle in the Tanzanian business or affairs. So what I'm saying is that we expect so much sometimes. We have so much hopes on sometimes female leadership, but I say a leader is a leader, whether male or female. They come with their values and qualities.
Don't let this lie. I know he doesn't agree with me, but I agree with you. Here the point is, when William Ruto was at Kasarani, he held the Bible with one hand and said, when I put this Bible down, I will deal with corruption.
Yeah.
Just take this classic example. When Justin Muturi was leaving office, he unearthed everything and said when his son was kidnapped, he went straight to the head of state. And the head of state had to pick the phone to speak to someone to ask him, are you aware about this? That person said, yes. Please release this guy. And the son was released, correct?
Yes.
I just want to take this trajectory that when we vote people to office, when we allow, certain people to be vetted in parliament to advise the president, that is where we should look at. That is where the real game is played. People who are taken to State House to assist the presidents with leadership, in terms of advising, in terms of moving the files, in terms of writing for him something, are the ones actually to blame in some of these things. Because at least Bonfos confirmed she never saw Suluhu in that room where they were being tortured. I'm very sure when she learned about this, whatever might have happened, the only place we blame her, she never came out clearly to condemn that kind of behavior.
Yeah.
Why? Because the people around the president, Fred, we will pretend the longest time, but they almost conduct the president how to go, where to go. And it takes courage for the president to actually say, you remember Mwai Kibaki one time was at the podium addressing the crowd, and then his limousine was being pulled out, being brought so that he probably can come down and go, and he told them off.
Yeah.
So the people around the president actually can determine whether the head of state will be leaning towards democracy the way we know it or not.
But should we excuse them as head of state in as far as the decision is concerned? Where does the buck stop?
And that's why we have this analysis, Fred.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, definitely, I will not excuse the head of state for irregularities that are happening, whether it is in corruption or media closure or whatever. But let people understand this so that when we approach elections, people know you are not just looking for some noisemaker to be member of parliament. You are looking for who has the wit and what it takes to understand issues and actually tell the head of state, this is the honest advice I'm giving you, but the decision is yours. Most people just go there to do chorus singing and then...
2 minutes each for your final comments. Tanzania decides it's now a matter of when and not if Samia Suluhu Hassan is announced as a winner of that election. What happens next? Does she have the opportunity